Hey everyone, this is John Strongman from Microsoft's Mighty South region. Today we're going to look at a rather interesting example that is a multi-stage invoice processing example. And for a human to do this would take several steps and involve several applications. So what we're going to see is how an automation can do this. And this little demonstration is really going to show the power and value of the Microsoft platform for our customers in that everything we're going to use today is a Microsoft product. So here's an example of the invoice coming in, and you see it's a standard invoice. We've got the name, the invoice, the date, amount due, tax, all kinds of stuff that goes into a standard invoice. So this invoice will come in, and it could come in via email or another means. For this examples of this demo, we're going to say that the invoice is stored in OneDrive. So see here we see the first Microsoft product in that invoices are uploaded to a Microsoft OneDrive folder. And because that's part of the Power Platform and integrated with Power Automate, it's very easily accessible. And so the idea is that invoices could come in all day and be uploaded to the OneDrive file, and then the automation can process them. Again, because this is a demo video, I only uploaded one invoice to show you how all this works. The next step is that we actually have an old green screen application. This is a mainframe application where this company, fictitious company, of course, is entering customer invoice data. And so because this is an older application, it doesn't have an API. And so this is another example of how an automation can really save you some time, because without an API, it's very difficult to write a program to access this kind of application automatically. But using Microsoft Power Automate Desktop and UI automation, we're able to automate the data entry, which is just entering all these fields and clicking save, which uploads the data to our back office mainframe application and saves it to a database that's not accessible via APIs. So now let's take a look at the cloud version. So we're going to manually trigger the flow. As I mentioned, it's going to connect to OneDrive, automatically connect, all part of the same secure Power Platform environment, connect to OneDrive and get the invoice. It's then going to connect to Office and grab the profile of the current user. Again, this is a Microsoft Power Platform product, fully connected, and it enables us to get the profile of the person running the automation. And then it's going to run a loop which has applied to each. Now, in this case, we're only going to have one loop because there's only one invoice file. We're going to use, again, the OneDrive connector to get the file content. And then for this example, I use the out-of-the-box AI Builder invoice processing example. As I've shown you in previous videos, you can actually train your own invoice processing models if you need to. For the purposes of this, I just used the out-of-the-box invoice processing demo. And then it actually will post a approval notice to Microsoft Teams. So the use case is that the invoice comes in, the automation processes the invoice, and then posts a notice to Teams asking for it to be approved or rejected. And then we have a condition. If the invoice is approved, we get an email sent that the invoice is approved. It retrieves the account that sent the invoice from Microsoft Dynamics Sales, and then adds a new record to the note for that Microsoft account saying the invoice has been reviewed, and inputs some data from the AI Builder data extraction. The last step is it runs the mainframe program and sends all this information extracted from AI Builder to the program, and then that program will update the mainframe on the fly. And this last step is that if the invoice is rejected, then we simply send an email saying the invoice is rejected. So let's see this work. So let me just minimize all this. I'll do a save. While that's saving, I'll pop open Microsoft Teams here and minimize this. I'll make this a little smaller so we can watch these two run side by side, and then we'll do a manual test. So I click test, and now it's just verifying my connections, and I say run, and now we'll watch this run. So I've got some green check marks. That's good. We know that everything's running so far. Okay, so we see I get my my Power Automate alert that a card has been sent in Microsoft Teams. I get a message saying an invoice ID has been received with this date and this total. Now you could make this even better. You could say the invoice has been received with subtotal tax shipping of this, the total is this, and if it adds up, then you could put a message in there saying all the addition is good, so approve or reject. I'm simply going to just go with this simple message today and say approve. Now this again shows the power of the Microsoft platform and that Teams is part of this entire integrated environment, and I can automatically have this message posted, and the security is and the governance is right out of the box included with the platform. I say approve and submit, and that goes back to our flow, and our flow continues to run. And the next thing we should see is that the desktop flow will kick off. It'll start the mainframe application and enter the information into it. Then let me open up Outlook while we're waiting for that to happen, because I believe the Outlook message will come in to this account. Just give it a minute here. And there we see, there's our mainframe application, and we'll start to see the data be inputted that was sent over from the Cloud Flow and extracted by AI Builder. It clicks save, and we see our new row get entered, and it's actually already been entered. And the last thing that should happen is our email will come in. So let's take a quick look and see if it's arrived. Okay, so we got the message saying the invoice was approved, and look at that, I'm even getting confetti, so that's just fantastic. I had the invoice ID put in with a confidence score and the date and the total, and then the last thing we'll see is the update to the Dynamics 365 account in Dynamics 365 for sales. So the customer was Contoso Coffee, so I just go to Dynamics 365 for sales and load up that account, and we'll see the note. Let's go accounts. And let's find Contoso Coffee, and I just passed it. There it is. And we see a note there saying, please pay this invoice. It just came in at 2:16 p.m. The invoice has been reviewed and approved, and please pay it. And I actually attached the invoice right there. So what we saw here is a multi-stage invoice processing automation using Power Automate Cloud Flows, Power Automate Desktop Flows to enter information into a back office mainframe system that doesn't have API. So there's no real way to connect to it except via Power Automate for Desktop UI automation. And then information was sent via email, which of course is another Microsoft product, being Microsoft Outlook. And then lastly, we saw a note being entered into Dynamics 365 for sales. So this is an end-to-end example showing the power and the value that the Microsoft platform can bring to our customers. I hope you enjoyed this and look forward to more videos coming soon.